Elon Musk makes another appearance on the Joe Rogan podcast this past Friday. And this weekend, there was so many things happening. I don't even know where to start, but we are going to primarily focus in this episode on that podcast that Elon Musk went on Friday. The Oscars, I don't know if you caught that. That was a pretty crazy event. The stock market is all over the place. It's not been booming as I had hoped it would immediately out of the gates with Trump taking office. Maybe things are needing to get put in place. There's just been a lot of things happening. The Zelensky-Trump fiasco this past Friday. There's been no shortage of news, but is there ever any shortage of news? My name is Brandon Fogel. This is Evolution. We're going to dive into it. We're going to primarily just focus on the Elon Musk, Joe Rogan sit down. This was the third one, the third time that they sat down together. The biggest episode Joe Rogan's ever had, the most watched, viewed ever, is that very first one with Elon Musk going on there. It's had the most views all time for his show, which it's a really, really great one, you know. Even the one right before the election was good. But this one was, is this one going to eclipse what happened on that very first time they sat down together? But we're going to take a few looks at a couple of the highlights, the biggest moments of that sit down in this episode. Let's just dive right into it. I mean, they just have good chemistry together. You know, they see things differently in some ways, but in a lot of ways, there's a lot of similarities between Elon and Joe Rogan. But the two biggest moments that stood out to me are these right here. One had to do with the talk when it kind of drifted over into aliens. Because whenever Joe Rogan has Elon on there, you know he wants to talk to Elon about aliens. Joe loves talking about aliens anyways, but who better to go to and talk about it with than Elon Musk? And Elon always hints at, I'm an alien. Yeah, he throws it out there, you know, I'm an alien, you know, and people don't want to believe that, but I'm an alien. And Joe Rogan, he's just always laughing. So who better to go to, as well as the Rocket Man himself, Elon Musk. But this is where it really, the highlight, we're going to take a quick look at it, and then we're going to break it down.
Look,
That's what I've been looking for.
You could ask our Grok AI right now to create a high-res image of an alien spacecraft, over Austin.
Yeah.
And it's going to do a great job.
Yeah.
So why do we not have at least that?
Right. Yeah, but I want to believe. That's the problem. My brain starts going, oh, come on. This is no fun. I want it to be real. I want there to be at least be some advanced propulsion system. If not, like, what are all these people seeing? Like, what is happening if we're not being occasionally visited by things that are smart enough to hide?
We might be. It's just that these aliens are very subtle.
Yeah, you keep saying that. It's a good line.
I mean,
it's a solid line because it's pretty accurate.
I just want to see some high-res video of aliens.
Look, how are they just evading all the cameras?
All right. So what really stood out to me right here was Joe. I want to believe when Joe said that, you know, and Joe's worldview, and when I'm really trying to step back and analyze it, and he's on a different level as opposed to a lot of different people out there. But the way that he's able to break down things, break down arguments, and understand, get to the crux of the matter, how he sees the world. Because I've went at it differently, like, and how I'm kind of basically gleaning how he views reality. And a lot of it has to do with the psychedelic drugs, and almost that can get us into something deeper beyond the universe that's out there. He's wanting that. He's not just, he's definitely not just, I'm materialistic, you know, it's just evolutionary processes that brought us here, and that's it. You know, there could have been a time that Joe Rogan might have thought like that, but I don't think he is like that anymore. He is seeking for deeper meaning. I'm of the opinion that deeper meaning is, you know, it's the spiritual world with Jesus Christ, you know, and angels and demons and all that. But see, it's like, it's flabbergasting to me that Jesus and angels and demons and all about that and resurrection is boring. How did we get to that? How did the devil deceive our eyes so much that when we think about Jesus and all that, that is the status quo? That is the conventionality that that's all there could be, you know, and that's boring, you know, and we have to look beyond that. When you really boil it down, like, I know I'm just flipping this right to Jesus and everything, but it's like, I really was thinking about this. How is being born of a virgin, you know, the miracles happened 2,000 years ago, that perfect pinnacle of history that it happened in, you know, because I mean, like, you think, well, why didn't God just wait 2,000 more years later and then start bringing Jesus when we have video cameras, when we're able to take pictures? Maybe that is a grace to us. Maybe that was God giving us grace, because that would just further condemn us, because we would explain it away that much more. The video, like, we would have, if Jesus came this year or 2 years ago, and we were able to record him walking out of that tomb, you know, we had a live stream of him walking out of that tomb, people would explain it away in some other fashion. You know, so maybe it was a grace to, like, God gives us enough evidence so that we can believe in him. But, like, once we start just closing our eyes so much, we just go into more of a condemned state. And I don't want to flip this and say this all about Joe or Elon whatsoever. You know, this is all humanity. This is me. This is everyone. We're all in this together, folks. We are all in this together, you know? But it puts me in awe when I think about how Jesus, and talking about him, that the more interesting thing is aliens, and we want to believe in anything else whatsoever possible, and instead of, you know, I guess it's because we've had it for 2,000 years of it being in our face, and now it's not as exciting anymore. You know, that's why we have to have a Dan Brown come and make the Bible exciting by trying to get some secret knowledge out of it. I'm just thinking, whenever I hear them talk about, like, aliens, and Joe says he wants to believe. You know, not too long ago he's had a bunch of Christians on his podcast. And he's open. He's definitely not hostile to Christianity at all. You know, there are clips of him, you know, years back that he was hostile, it seemed like, to Christianity, and just berating it and making fun of it and how stupid it was. I don't know if what he thinks, like, if it was a calculated decision to change that stance, or if he has been more open to hearing about it. But to me, it's just like, I know you want to believe in aliens, and I mean, I'm all for it. There might be aliens, but in this worldview, that we have, that the Bible presents, the Bible gives us, you know, there are some crazy stuff happening already. You know, we don't need to invent and want to believe in something super crazy that's possibly out there, when the super crazy is actually out there. You know, C.S. Lewis, he made the point that, like, the thing about Christianity, there's all these myths out there, but the weird thing about Christianity is it's the myth that is true. It's the myth that is true. And it's a story that is crazy, you know, so we don't have to go super far to find something that is titillating and just makes us want to lean in and try to glean some new knowledge, where, you know, Jesus, he is super interesting in himself. And I think it's just, we got to get to, like, can we actually accept it? Can we believe it? You know, and that's for everyone to decide their own personal opinion, where they want to go. You know, I think as long as you're open, God will give you more light. If you're open to truth, I think the main thing is, what do you seriously, no matter what the truth is, no matter what it is, if it's the opposite of what I'm thinking right now, if it's going to completely shift my course of life and shift the way that I'm wanting to live and what I'm aspiring to do, if that truth is going to knock me off my horse and I'm willing to accept it, I think if we're in that position, God will give us more truth. You know, otherwise he's going to give us light, and it's just going to condemn us further, you know, unless we just kind of surrender ourselves to it. You know, I mean, I hate to switch everything to biblical, but I mean, in my view, I see everything from biblical lens, you know, everything, you know. And all right, now we're going to go to the next clip. We're going to shift gears a little bit. This is where it shifted, and it talked about when Donald Trump, the previous assassination attempt, the one back in June, that he actually got shot at. He actually got shot at, and he got his ear almost ripped off. He almost got his head ripped off. But by the grace of God, he is still standing. We're going to take a look at Elon Musk when he went back to, this is after Butler, and going back to Butler and having another rally, and him seeing him, we understand, we remember Elon Musk jumping on stage and his theatrics, very gesticulating, and him on there, and he's given his account that he sees that exact place where that gunman was seated, laying wherever, and he's like, how in the world, that is the perfect pristine spot. But let's actually take a look at what Elon has to say there.
If I was a sniper, my pole position, my number one spot would be that roof.
Yeah.
Like it's like the best seat in the house.
Yeah.
Like, why would you not?
No, it's so obvious.
It's the best seat in the house.
And
like, if you want to be a sniper, there isn't a better position.
It was pretty obvious that the idea was, like, if we're saying that this is a coordinated assassination attempt, and it very well could have been, that's what you would do. You'd have someone go up there, he shoots the president, you shoot him, you got Lee Harvey Oswald all over again.
JFK,
it's over.
repeat.
It's all wrapped up nice and clean. They assassinated him. We never heard a peep about it. We don't have any idea. They would concoct some sort of story. He was radicalized by this or that, or, he was on medication. Who knows?
Right.
And now, you have a completely different presidential election. You have a murder on live television.
All right. So that was a very poignant moment for me. Very, very, because this had to do this. I mean, we say elections have consequences. This would have been as impactful and huge and resonating that the actual election itself happened. Donald Trump, that could have been Abraham Lincoln all over again, except we would never hear the name of Donald Trump ever again. He would have been a forgotten thing of the past. They would have probably, just covered up all he did in history. The history books would change everything. And who knows, the history books are yet to be written, and anything could change. And as just him, Donald Trump going into office, that is a perfect example of the flip. God must have a sense of humor in a lot of ways. He must have a sense of humor. I think about God's sense of humor every time I'm watching a football game, as well as just in regular life, in the news that is just played out before us every day, and politics happening every day that we experience and we watch. Is like the most unlikely situation usually ends up happening. The thing that you think that's not even possible that it could happen, it ends up happening. So they're talking about Donald Trump and how it have been coordinated, like supposedly, allegedly, possibly. And Joe Rogan, like, he is very interested in the JFK assassination, and trying to get to Lee Harvey Oswald and trying to find out what all went down there. But he's like, I don't even care about that anymore compared to this event. I mean, this is like something that is like happened last year. I mean, the thing with JFK, that's like 50 years ago. Like, it's not going to have any real change in the trajectory of where we're going. We have been so desensitized to everything. Like, I'm always stuck in awe of like how desensitized we are to anything. Nothing really shakes us anymore. The government announced last year that aliens are real, and we are like, okay, next story. And we don't care. Like, they legitimized, said the aliens are real. They've said it, and we're like, okay, let's move on. We don't, nothing. And this makes me think about, like, there are so many things, conspiratorial fires burning in all of our hearts. Everyone, some people have way more so, but everybody's got a little bit of conspiratorial nature in themselves. And I'm just like, if God allowed the embers to glow and allowed the course of history just to be, if we had free reign, like real legit freedom, this world would be annihilated in a second. But God has greater purposes that are over everything, and he's not going to let us just carry out everything that's in our heart, because it's like we all want something crazy to be out there, and really there is something way crazier than we could ever imagine that is actually happening. It's just people, a lot of people we have blinders on. We don't see the spiritual unseen realities that are happening behind everything. And we want the more boring version of aliens and something that is out there in the ether and something that is beyond our galaxy. Whereas there's something beyond this realm that is actually right in front of us, that is literally in the room that you are sitting in. There are spiritual things. Literally, it's happening. It is happening. But whether you choose to believe it or not, angels are circulating around you all the time. Everything is always, it is, if we had our eyes opened, that's why in the Bible, it talks about Elijah, or it's Elisha, and his servant, and his servant is just terrified. He's scared to death. He's like, they're going to come kill us. They're going to come kill us. And Elisha tells his servant, there are more that are with us than are with them. And he prays to the Lord that open his eyes that he might see, and his servant's eyes gets opened, and he sees chariots of fire just burning all around that are just like, we don't understand. And especially Christians, you have an army at your side every day. You're going into work, you have an army going into work with you. You got angels, they are ministering spirits. They are there. It's like we don't want to believe it, because we can't see it. It doesn't work with our five senses, but they're there. Now, with this assassination attempt, and I know it's very interesting to me, that Joe, he doesn't even care anymore about the JFK thing anymore, because this is right in front of us of what happened. And when Elon talked about, like, how could they have coordinated such an effort and it to be just, it failed because it failed and the guy missed the shot. And we wouldn't have got down to anything that actually happened if the guy had been a better shot. But he wasn't, and he barely missed, and he nicked Trump on the ear. And now we actually have an opportunity to find out what went down, because him to be, and Elon just, he gave like the perfect illustration that I'd never thought of. Like, how does the deep state, if the CIA, the CIA is always watching, NSA is always listening, how could they do something like that? And like, I think the CIA is great. They do probably some dark things, but they're keeping us safe. But how could they, like with Lee Harvey Oswald, have done what they did with him, and then now with this young fella that got put in that perfect position? And Elon made the illustration that the sport curling, like if you're familiar with curling, it's not that you're pushing that the person and you're directly steering what they're doing, but you're just kind of right in front of it. If you're familiar with it, it's like a broom. You're sweeping in front of it so that it goes the way that you want it to go, and it goes in that perfect exact spot that you want it to be, and it does the rest. The ball does the rest, or whatever, the puck, or whatever that thing is called. I don't know. But it puts it in that exact spot, and Elon's talking about that and saying that was interesting to me. That was very interesting to me, because I'd never even thought about that. Elon Musk, he's always opening your eyes. He's always opening your eyes. He's making you think a lot deeper if you hang with him and you really dial into everything he says, because it's next level. It's next planetary. It's beyond us, whether he's an alien or I don't know. I seriously doubt he's an alien, but you never know. And Joe Rogan, absolutely love Joe Rogan, and he is able to break down every argument. So them talking about these two topics, and they talked about a bunch, so you should check out the entire episode. The entire thing was amazing, but these were the highlights that I gleaned from it. So I hope it gave you food for thought, and we will leave it at that.
I'm in